All right. Here we are. Intro credits finished. Now, on to group therapy. A chance to check in with our characters, see how they're feeling about current events. Uh, you know, See what their emotional state is like, get an idea of how they're going to handle things going forward. And I guess I'll start with Egner, as I usually do since I'm the guy talking. So Egner is in a bad state right now. I mean, like he's gonna stick it through. He's gonna be fine ultimately. But things are looking kind of dark right now because he feels this sense of betrayal um, that may or may not be as severe as he feels it is. Like the reality of the situation is probably not lining up with how he feels. But he does feel this sense of betrayal from finding out that Ellie had some kind of previous arrangement with the ISCB. And if you've been watching this game for any amount of time, you probably have picked up that Egner is very paranoid about things. And especially when it comes to an organization like the ISCB that has repeatedly shown that they're on some kind of manhunt for him. For some reason, for whatever reason, they have a great interest in capturing Egner Bosch. They did it the once before. They tried to do it again, and just the mere suggestion that Ellie is wrapped up with one of their plots has got Egner's conspiracy mind going crazy. Like, seriously. And there was a tense moment last session where Egner more or less accused Ellie of like trying to lay an elaborate trap to capture him. And Egner and Ellie, they're a bit on the rocks right now. Egner is. Wait, what would you write over there, Asa? I can't see the whole thing. Wow, really creative. Really. Egner is a butt. Wow. It's very, very creative. I love it. Um, Egner is. He's just in somewhat of a dark place because he really was relying on Ellie a lot for this kind of emotional reinforcement, for this sense of like security and safety. And at least for the moment, that sense is kind of gone. And another character whom he would have uh, leaned on a lot, Eridu, is not around. And there's this mechanical facsimile of Eridu around, this warforged named Rue, played by Asa right over there. And Egner is feeling, he's not feeling as freaked out by Rue as he was. He's like starting to like Rue a little more, but there's still that sense of like, you're not my real Eridu. You're not the real one. So,
To which Rue would respond, Era who?
Erihu. So Egner is feeling a little lost right now. He feels like he doesn't have the emotional support that he has always had in some kind of way, um, and he just doesn't really trust a whole lot of people or trust the situation as it is right now. And on top of it all, you know, Twin Harbor's falling apart as it has been for a while, and he's just so burnt out on everything that he doesn't seem to have a sense of like compassion or like hardly even care that Twin Harbor, this city that he used to care about a lot, is going through some shit. He like hardly cares. He's just burnt out. He's feeling very alone, and he just doesn't know what to do about anything at the moment. So yeah, as usual with Egner, it's a little rough. Little rough. All right. Who's next?
I can go. Um, Ellie is mostly sad and tired. That's her general demeanor. Still on 2 levels of exhaustion. From
Yep.
building roof. She got very, very angry and then kind of crashed from it and then got very, very sad. Um, After the kind of argument with Agner. Um, and now she's just kind of passive. It's almost like she's just kind of letting things happen and not really kind of speaking up, shying away from Agner a lot and kind of like flinching away from him and not really having much input into anything. I don't think she really has an opinion on the Twin Harbour situation. Like, it's kind of been going downhill for a while, so she's kind of, used to that. I think she'll probably now sort of set her mind to helping rescue Halifax because it's like a solid thing that she can do. But other than that, I mean, she thinks Eridu's dead, so she kind of just wants to find his body. That's about the extent of it. But yeah, I mean, that's Ellie really.
All right. Who's next?
I'll go, I
Go,
guess.
Alex.
Whatever. Fine. So like every session, I think about all the things going on with Lee, and I'm like, those are too many things. And then I'm like, well, maybe next time there will be less things because something will have been resolved. But that is not the case this time. We have added many more things on top of the other stuff that she was already dealing with. Of course, running underneath everything is the fact that Eridu has still not miraculously come back the way Aegner said he would. So every day that continues to happen is a day that gets worse. She's been screwing up her personal rituals every night because they require a level of honesty with herself that she's not been willing to give. That's not true, Asa. We all are agreeing, except for maybe some of us who are not agreeing, that Eridu is not dead.
He's not dead.
Anyway, she assigned herself this impossible task of saving the ISCB for no reason except for just guilt. Guilt also being the motivating factor for what led to her quasi-accidentally invading Halifax's dreams last night.
That was cool.
Yeah. Cool is a word that one could use to describe that situation. It actually could have solved one of her problems, which was getting Halifax back, if she had, been able to just get the information, get out, and be like, okay, now I know how to rescue Halifax. But somebody had felt like they needed some absolution or something and decided to tell her a bunch of stuff she did not want to know. And now, on top of everything else, she has these 3 questions inside of her head that she doesn't want to think about any of them, but she keeps coming back to them. It's like picking a scab, And one of the questions is, does this mean I can't trust Halifax anymore? Because now I know that he chose to kill Eridu instead of me. And also, like way back in Asa's episode, Drew Halifax told her that he would protect Eridu and that he cared about him, and she believed him. And now she's wondering if that was a lie, and is also wondering if she needs to start hating Halifax again, because she'd kind of dropped off of the hating part for a bit. But then, like, pushing against that, leaning toward hatred, is the question of, should she forgive him for making that choice? Because it was an impossible situation. It was a torture that the snake had put him through. And in fact, should she be apologizing to Halifax for, instead of absolving him, making his pain worse? In something that, there would never have been a good answer. She doesn't know which is the right question to ask or what the answers are to either of those questions. But the third question, which is every bit as terrible as the other two and is going to plague her for a very long time, is does Halifax like me? And she doesn't want to know the answer unless the answer is an unequivocal no, that was a weird dream thing. No, Asa. She would much
Matthew's
rather.
gonna hate the audio for this. He's gonna be like, "Why is there all this one-sided Asa comment?"
That's true. It's very annoying. You should stop that. Yeah, she would much rather go back to like alternating between hating and maybe thinking Halifax is okay and maybe sometimes trusting him and then going back to hating him again. That all would be much preferable to even just like cracking open the lid of the Pandora's box jar that is interpersonal relationship stuff. Like, there's a reason that she was celibate for about 100 years, which, by the way, she's been celibate for about 100 years. So, yeah, so her attention's going to be pretty strongly divided between dealing with whatever is actually going to be happening this session and trying to figure out the answer to, in particular, that third question without actually asking Halifax anything and hopefully just, like, avoiding the subject entirely with him.
For sure. I just wanted to say that dream sequence totally made me think of that episode of The Next Generation where they like are trying to find out what's going on with that really awkward crew member. Then they go on the holodeck and upload his program, and then it's like all the female members of the crew are like wearing these fancy clothes, and they're like, "Oh, you're so amazing!"
I remember that,
Totally
yeah.
made me think of that. That's such a hilarious
Amazing.
episode.
Lieutenant Barclay.
Barkley, that's it. That's it.
I that guy, it makes me sad every time I think about him.
Oh, he's a great actor though. He's like,
Oh yeah, but
really
his
kills it.
the later his whole character arc, it's small and it takes up maybe 2 or 3 episodes, but it's really sad.
Yeah, dude.
Well, he comes back in Voyager though, and he like helps save Voyager.
Yes.
Oh, that's cool.
Yes, he does. There's redemption for everyone, including Lieutenant Barkley. Yeah. So how's Rue feeling? Also, is Rue capable of emotion? Let's find out.
Rue is feeling extremely flattered for some reason. And a little bit conflicted. I think mostly because he has no idea why he feels so flattered. But it seems as though there are emotions that are maybe stirring in him that he hasn't felt for a long time. So he's wondering how to sort those things out.
That is a long time for Rue.
Well, I don't know. It feels like it could be 100 years, but I mean, he's only been alive for a few days, so maybe it's 2 hours. I don't know.
I see. Uh-huh.
And that's about it. He's kind of confused as to why these feelings even exist and what the feelings are and why his tummy hurts a little bit and how come he even feels like he has a tummy. What is a tummy? And I think right now he's probably just sitting crisscross somewhere, rubbing his abdomen and thinking about all of the conversations he's had with Alan that have to do with food. And I believe he's starting to decide that maybe he's getting hungry. That's how Rue feels.
Well, all right.
That seems entirely reasonable. The question of do androids dream of electric sheep is entirely wrong. It's do androids dream of cheese whiz?
It's the spin-off novel right there.
Got it.
It's the spin-off right there.
There you go, Philip K. Dick. Get
Yeah.
on it.
All
Is
right,
he dead yet?
I don't know. It's I don't know. Maybe he's taken so many drugs that he is just like in a state of like suspended animation or something. Who knows?
Maybe.
Yep.
Who knows? All right.
Speaking
That
of
being
drugs and
said-
suspended animation,
Yeah. Take it away, Drew.
Awesome. So, our intrepid party was at Aigner's abode. They'd recently discovered that there were a few spell scrolls, a map, and they compared the map that they had of the city with the map that they'd discovered. That was made of all sorts of like little stone scratchings from various places. The two scrolls that they had was of a clairvoyance ritual spell that allowed them to continuously use it without the spell scroll being destroyed, and a fireball scroll. These two, along with a few magical items, a small crystal orb, a small ear horn looking thing encrusted with jewels. These things they discovered on the person of one of the ISCB agents. One of the ISCB agents that is still alive is tied up outside the building, crying out that he needs to be let go because his family is going to be tortured and killed otherwise. That they need to let him go, otherwise he'll blow up. And lots of other excuses and reasons that they should let him go, because they should totally let him go, guys. Alan's been mostly looking after him. And Tobias, Halifax's familiar, flew towards the party and informed them of where he is. He's on a dock across the river, and people are fighting in the streets. The exact cause and the peoples involved are unclear, but the fighting has turned to looting and pillaging. Twin Harbour is on fire. And that's where we begin. We have the party deciding what the best plan of action is to go ahead.
Well, maybe there's like a whole discussion around the table. Maybe Agner is pounding some whiskey and he slams his glass down on the table hard, and in an attempt to just cut through all the chatter, and he says, "Look, obviously, we have to rescue Halifax. He and I have had our differences in the past, but he is a very powerful magic user, and if there's anyone that can help give us some answers and help guide us through this crazy magical bamboozling, I don't know, situation, it'll be him. He's resourceful."
One thing that Halifax said to me was that he was going to try and see if he could escape himself, and that he wanted us to do whatever we could to prevent Agrian's plan from reaching its full impact, which was supposed to be by mid-morning. I don't know what time it is now.
It'll be early morning at this
Early
point.
morning. I don't know if that's just because Halifax wants us to do that. That's what we should do, but I would be remiss if I didn't mention it. Either way, we should probably start heading toward the city, right?
We should. We need to...
Marjorie will pipe up and suggest that perhaps taking the short win, that we got Emily, we managed to get out. Yes, we lost someone along the way. We may have lost two people. Cut the losses, run, leave Twin Harbour in the rear view.
Agner immediately, in a gruff voice, just repeats this kind of maxim that he learned from back in the day in his, soldiering paladin days. And he says it in this way where it's almost like a kind of like a robotic response. Like he was programmed to say this exact kind of phrase. in these similar kind of situations. And he says, "No man left behind."
Marjorie, if you don't want to be involved in this next part, I completely understand. It's not really you don't have any stakes in it. If you want to stay and keep an eye on this ISCB agent while we're gone, that might solve an additional problem.
I think I will. I don't have a stake in this fight, and giving more fuel to the fire, so to speak, doesn't seem like a wise idea. And while I think Alan is a capable man, I think the agent needs a bit closer watch. She then turns to Emily with an almost expectant look. And Emily doesn't notice for a brief moment and then catches that Marjorie's looking at her. Oh no, I'm going.
Yeah, she is.
Ellie's just like looking at the floor. She raises her eyebrows while Marjorie's speaking and then just sort of grins when she says she's not coming. But doesn't say anything and doesn't look up or meet anyone's eye. But, you know, quietly happy.
So, Alan at this point has just been like stirring something over the fire, brings over some food and drinks to people, and catches himself just before he asks if there's anything else people would like to order. Realizes that he's not in his bar.
Alan, do you want to return to your place at some point? Probably now is not the time if there's fighting in the streets, but is that something you should be thinking about?
Who knows what remains of the cornerstone right now?
True. Although, I did keep close ties with the resistance movement of Emily's while it was in its infancy. I do find myself in a bit of a bind now. See, while I could easily get my way into the city without being seen, where would I go? That's my issue. And of course, you yourselves were talking about not being sure how to get into the city, but having a clear destination. And it seems like we're both just at a loss.
Well, we do have a clear destination. We just don't know exactly where it is. We need to do some recon. We got to find out exactly where Halifax is, and try and figure out the most efficient route to get there. I'd like to avoid any of the fighting, brawls, looters, any of that garbage. We should be quick, precise, and extract ourselves from the situation as soon as we can, as soon as we have Halifax.
I do not know about a hill, but I believe that there are places where you can find facts, and they're often referred to as libraries. We could start there. And then maybe, once we have done our reconnaissance and recovered all of the facts, we can then find this hill.
Egner just chuckles and, you know, tries to say in this very like placating voice, very helpful, Rue, very, very helpful. I'm sure there will be a library somewhere. We'll stop by when we're in the city. Yeah, yes.
Rue's mouth just kind of hinges open, in what in his mind is sort of a facsimile of a smile, but just kind of looks like he's gaping at you.
Awkward.
Well, Alan at this point will then bring out a bottle of brandy, which doesn't originate from Agnes' place. Just cracks it open, starts pouring things out. Thought I'd nip back last night and get this from the shop. Drink up, everyone.
I'm sorry, you've been getting into and out of the city by yourself this whole time?
Hmm?
You've been getting into and out of the city by yourself this whole time?
Yes, like I said, I have ways in and out, but I don't have anywhere to go if I get in. But you have somewhere to go, and you don't have a way in. Like I said, it's a pickle. It's a conundrum.
Sounds like we need to take you with us.
Oh no! I'm not one for a sword, milady.
Well, then you got to tell us everything about how you get into the city.
Do you think it's appropriate or useful right now?
Yes, we're trying to get into the city. I mean,
I know you're trying to get in, but how I get in has no bearing on. Well, I suppose you could use it. Yes, I don't see the harm. He then
Alan.
quickly sketches out on some paper a rough outline. Between each gate site, there's a small door which would normally lead into the walls. Beside each door, there's a small hatch. That hatch leads to what he just refers to as suppliers' tunnels, which are between the sewers and the city surface level. There's just walkways, tunnels, service entrances and things, ways to secretly get between certain buildings and to get inside the city in the first place. It's a way that he gets some less legal liquors into his shop without them going through like customs and things.
as Alan is describing this, Agner, in a very accusing kind of voice, just says, "So they're smuggler tunnels. You've been using the smuggler tunnels for years."
Well, if you need some way to get in and out without the guards seeing you.
This would have been very helpful to know a lot earlier, Alan.
Sorry, I've never really thought about it before.
Well, I'm glad you thought of it now. Agner reaches over and takes the brandy and just drinks straight from the bottle.
Yes. I don't know what your name is. Egner? That is the name we call you? Sure.
Yes, Rue.
Alan is very helpful. Alan is a very smart friend. He is the smartest person that I know. Except for Mom. Ellie.
Egner looks over in Rue's direction, in the direction of Rue's voice, rather, as he hears the metallic kind of grinding as Rue speaks, and he just says, "Well, you haven't met Halifax yet."
I do have a sneaking suspicion that Ellie is smarter than Halifax, which...
No, I think so,
It's
actually.
Max. I meant Max.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's my stat. So
Is Halifax a name
Yes.
for a being like you?
He's a little different than we are, but he is one of us all the same.
I just kind of shudder. I feel very embarrassed. I thought that it was a library on a hill. I am very confused.
Well, I mean, you're not far off. Halifax does enjoy libraries.
Does he provide much knowledge?
Yes. Yes, he does, Rue. You're getting it. Don't worry. Don't worry.
So he is like a library.
In my opinion, sure, yeah.
Tobias,
I
at this
think-
point, will squawk up and go, "He likes to think so."
Is anyone going to tell Halifax how sassy his bird is?
I think he knows.
Halifax knows.
He probably does.
Yeah.
Well then, this walking library will be very useful. We should find him and make him dear friends. I'm gonna look at Ellie for approval.
Just nod once.
At the nod, I'll do my awkward, not quite smile.
And then she's gonna say, still not looking up at anybody. You said he was on a boat?
Yep.
To Leah, not to the deer. This is in character.
All right. Okay.
No, it's fine. Yeah. Okay. Well, we can always go by sea.
Where are we gonna get the boat to go to the other boat?
Well, I have walk on water, and I can make us breathe underwater for 24 hours.
You can do what now? Egner has got this kind of shock in his voice. Remember, he doesn't know shit about magic. Even though he uses some magic, he don't know shit about it. So this is like a genuine like news flash to him. You can do what now?
Yeah, we could just walk there. How long it lasts? I know it lasts that long.
Alan points out that one of the tunnels will lead you down to the docks on the near side. So you could then take a tunnel to the docks and simply walk from there.
How would we avoid being seen once we're out on the water? It's kind of exposed.
Use the cover of night and use Yorana's blessing.
Water walk is a ritual spell that lasts for an hour.
Ooh.
So 10 minutes per person. What we've got: Rue, Aigner, Leah, and
Target more than one
Ellie.
person. You can target more than one person.
With the initial casting.
I was just reading it, but I literally cannot find it.
Well, yeah, up to 10 willing creatures.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well,
And
there you
it's
go.
Yeah.
Same with breathe underwater as well. Water breathing.
I was gonna say, if you're having to ritual cast on each of us individually, by the time you're done with the last cast, it's gonna be like 10 minutes for the first person.
I also have invisibility that I could do, although I don't know if one of the other ones is concentration. I literally can't find them.
Well, yeah. Water walk, page 287 of the Player's Handbook. It's not concentration.
I'm not getting that. Okay, so I mean, neither of them are concentration, so I would only have enough spell slots to make the four of us invisible and breathe underwater and water. We could invisibly walk to the boat. Is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
answer.
No, I think if we got the walk on water, we don't need to breathe underwater. You know.
Yeah, it doesn't last. Breathe underwater lasts for way longer than the walk on water, though.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like if we got like thrown off overboard, or if we had to like make an escape and it run out.
So you'd be holding it in reserve, essentially. Or trying
It's just
to.
a safety precaution. It's just in case. I don't know.
Now we're getting somewhere here. This is making sense. This is making sense.
I think Ellie's plan is sound, except I don't need to breathe. Alan has explained to me that it is the action of sucking air in through your mouth or nose and into your lungs. And as it happens, I don't have many of those things.
Well, if you can only do on water for some people. Oh,
Yeah,
Sorry.
you glipped.
did that thing again.
Mm-hmm.
Some people can disguise themselves, right? Would there be a way to use that?
I mean, anything walking on the water might be a bit.
I'm trying to think of like a sea animal that like would look like it's doing a thing, but I don't think anyone in this particular group has the polymorphy stuff right now.
Rue could just walk on the bottom.
True.
Yeah, but that
Is true.
went up though,
What?
and
Yeah.
that might be a long way.
But like,
He'd get really
So we've
lonely.
got-
But
Uh,
it targets 10 people. I don't have to use a spell slot for each person it's cast on. It
but
targets up to 10
you were talking
people.
about invisibility only being able to be used 4 times.
Yeah, invisibility.
And then he would be on the bottom and no one could see him because he's on the bottom. That would save one invisibility spot.
Yes. I think this could really work. I mean, especially if we take the smuggler tunnel to the docks, and then, I mean, the water walk lasting for 1 hour. I mean, you could probably walk across a lot of water in 1 hour. Egner's got Pass Without Trace, given like a huge stealth bonus to everyone, you know? We got invisibility. I mean, I think the combination of all these things could make it work.
Make it a lot more streamlined than hacking our way.
For
around.
sure. But the first thing we need to do when we get out to the docks is use the clairvoyance scroll and try and figure out exactly where we're going, so we're not like walking blind on the water. But
Leah will hesitantly bring this up, but I would, if it's possible, I would still want to stop my father from whatever it is he's planning on doing later this morning. Perhaps while you are rescuing Halifax, I should try to confront him.
not by your
own.
Yeah,
I'm
not on your own.
He probably won't kill me.
Probably won't kill you. Egner scoffs in this kind of way. If I know Agrian, and I don't know him all that well, but the encounters I've had with him, there's a long pause as he kind of recalls what his encounter was like, and he just says with this kind of chill in his voice, he's cold-blooded.
And on second thought, he probably will kill me or do something terrible. So, yeah.
Look, after we rescue Halifax probably has some information that he's picked up being in Agrian's proximity. Halifax probably knows more of the details, maybe knows where Agrian is trying to execute this plan.
I've been thinking about it, and I would like to kill Agrian.
Egner's eyebrows go,
Eridu's not here. I don't have to worry about him. I think it needs to happen.
I think so too. I'm just shocked to hear you say it.
I know. I never want anyone to die, ever, except for this man.
Rue has spent all this time opening his mouth and then closing it and like kind of squinting his eyes at the same time in what looks like someone going
What?
except he's not exhaling any breath. And then as Ellie's talking, or not Ellie, but once the conversation starts to center around Agrian, he stops, his mouth sort of hinging open for a minute, and he just kind of looks between Ellie and Agner and Leah as they're talking. And then he finally says, when their conversation dies down, I would like to go with you to confront Agrian.
Well,
I think you would be safe that way.
I think so too. You're a valuable asset, Rue.
Thank you.
Leah will just nod. All right.
Is that stew done yet, Alan?
Yes. I think it's good enough to eat. Good for a hardy trek somewhere.
Yeah, I'm gonna need a lot. Hand it over.
He then gives you a massive serving of stew.
Agner starts wolfing it down, you know, like there's gonna be no tomorrow. Washing it down with some more of Alan's brandy. As soon as he's done eating, he goes through the preparations of putting his armor on, locating Talon's blade, making sure his Fania's light shield is functioning and ready to go.
Excellent.
I'd put my armor on if I still had it.
That's too bad.
AC is still 11. Just as a reminder to people.
Right.
Root
So
could
Emily,
just, wrap his arms around you and then look down and say, "Now you have an AC of 15."
Cute.
of course, Rue is programmed with how the game works.
Exactly. He knows exactly how game mechanics function.
Of course.
I have analyzed all of your attributes and written them down for you. I have a strength value of 17, which gives me a +3. I hope to improve that one day.
So then the question becomes +3 to what?
It's a good question.
That is a good question.
So, Emily will similarly get some preparations underway, gather her things. She is without armor or weapons, but she doesn't need them. She is a very capable, unarmed combatant.
She's a monk. Pow, pow.
Oh, yeah.
Pow, pow.
Upon stepping outside and having a look towards the city walls, that's when it becomes clear that part of the city walls, there's a tree line that brushes right up against the wall itself, near one of the seldom used gates in. And that is likely your best point of ingress.
Did Alan write some stuff down on a little crude map maybe and kind of show us here's this gate, here's the hatch that I use. Okay.
Yes.
So someone's got that paper for reference. As they're heading outside and striking off, Egner's gonna hang back a little bit and try and walk next to Ellie for a moment, and he can't really tell if people are within earshot or not, so he's just gonna try and keep a very professional tone of voice, and he'll say, Ellie, I apologize if my words came off as callous. I still am trying to figure out exactly how I feel about everything. But I hope that this does not interfere with the importance of this tactical endeavor. Can we count on each other?
I don't know what level of bitchiness to come back with.
How bitchy?
Of course, Agner, I would never let I would never let you get in the way of doing such an important mission.
Egner, I'm gonna choose that he's ignoring any amount of subtext and just kind of taking the words as they are, and he just nods and says, "Good, very good. We need everyone on the same page if we're going to succeed in this. I have no idea how dangerous it's going to be in the city."
Yeah.
While they're having that conversation, Leah is turning to Emily, who's with them, right? And and just like quietly and kind of guiltily asking, you dream sometimes, right? You're a person who dreams, right?
Yes, I do.
Dreams sometimes can get really weird, right? Like they'll do things that don't make any sense in like the real world at all.
It would make sense that one of your kind would be confused by it. I understand you don't dream very often.
Hardly ever. Yeah, but I think I've heard people talk about their dreams that are just pure nonsense sometimes. Like, for example, in their dreams expressing feelings for someone they don't actually have feelings for. Like dreams will sometimes just take things away in weird directions, right?
They do very much so. Often dreams are a way for us to explore things within us. If we do have strong feelings for someone, we may dream about that. We may dream about anxieties that we have, fears, but none of them are necessarily real. For instance, I once had a strange dream that I was married to Aigna. Now, there are no desires there at all of my part. And yet, the dream happened. It also
it
the
happened.
talking pig, and there was some strange quest that we needed to go on to send some small ring, which was a lich's phylactery, into a volcano. And there were several small halflings with us. It was a strange dream. None of it is real.
I get it now.
All right. So Leah kind of went from being from feeling good to like being really alarmed, and now she's back to being like, oh, okay, okay. Yeah, none of it makes sense. That yeah. Okay. Thank you.
There are also dreams that could be prophetic in some way. Some people have that sort of gift to them. Some people dream of things that might go well or go wrong in the near or far future, and it may come to pass. Dreams can be a mystery, but if you're worried about yourself or someone you know having a dream about feelings towards someone, rest assured it could be entirely nonsense, a fabrication of the mind.
Yeah, it was just a hypothetical. So
It always
sorry, Eric's over there laughing at me.
Yeah, so my friend had this dream, and my friend is dreaming crazy things.
Crazy things.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So then Leah will nod and turn away and just be done with that conversation after thanking Emily for indulging her.
Sure. So, with the... Is that room?
That's Drew holding his breath.
It doesn't look like Eridu though.
That's
I
Drew
was gonna
deciding
say
he's
that-
hungry.
Hey, that's pretty good.
There's a
Except it's an elf
strong
ear.
Iron Giant thing going on.
I actually looked at a lot of Iron Giant pictures when I was looking at the.
Yeah. You should send those to Carrie so she can like post those on the Instagram. That'd be
I'm
cute.
going to.
That'd be
They're
cute.
really
dude.
funny.
Mhm.
All right. I was just really proud of them.
So, approaching the city, there are very few guards on the wall, but there are still some guards on the wall. To time it so that you get between some shifts of guards walking by on the wall so that you can run to this trapdoor. With advantage, I would like you all to make stealth checks, please.
Here goes nothing.
Do you cast that as personage yet or later?
I mean, I could cast it now if people would like. I think
I don't need it.
I'm pretty fresh with the spell slots, so I definitely could use it.
I mean, I got crit, so.
Oh, okay.
I don't need pass without a trace. Clink, clank, clink, clank, clink, clank.
Well, actually, well, what I will do. Wait, hold on. No, that ability is not gonna do anything because we already have advantage. Oh. All right, fuck it.
No,
Fuck.
I want your sweet, sweet plus 10.
Yeah, dude,
Oh,
fuck
wait,
it.
is that something I can give
I'm
us
gonna
on
use
guidance?
I meant to say.
You can only do it on one
sorry.
person at a time.
Oh,
Sorry.
okay.
I meant to say I leave Ein at Agnes' house.
All right.
Fair.
Okay.
I'm not going to bring him with me.
That's fair.
He's just a liability in situations like this.
He-
We've done it before, having to go on a
yeah.
boat with him. It's not.
He would have a hard time fitting through the tunnel as well.
Mm.
So
Mm.
Egner decides to use pass without trace, and as his hands pass over everyone's faces and the shadowy tendrils seep out of his hands and start to surround everyone in this kind of shadowy, shrouding mist, he says in a grave voice, "Yorana's blessings upon you. Yorana's blessings upon you." And everyone gets plus 10 to their stealth checks.
Well, in that case, my
Fancy
12
dice
became a
arena.
22.
And mine is 27.
I rolled like a badass. Oh my gosh. That's rare. That is rare. Alright, I have a 28 with a -1 and the plus 10.
I've got 32, but that's a crit.
Wow.
Whatever.
So 32, 27, 28. What did Drew get?
22.
22. All of you move towards where the map indicates there is a trapdoor. And when you get there, the large sort of bushel of tall grass that you're told the handle is hidden in, you cannot find the handle. One of the guard patrols turns and starts walking back along the wall, and very quickly Ellie finds the handle in a separate clutch of grass. Grabbing the handle, swinging this mud-covered, grass-topped wooden trapdoor, she swings it open, hurries everyone inside, and then closes the lid entirely silently, making sure that everyone is in the tunnel.
So Ellie's a badass.
So good.
I mean, always. Come on.
Always a badass.
We did great, guys. We did great. We're doing great.
So you're now in a pitch black tunnel. There are no light sources down here. Those of you that can see in the dark can see that it's a very narrow, like 2.5 foot wide corridor, and it's just over 5 feet tall. You really need to stoop and scurry. But there are turnings left and right. It looks like these tunnels go to a lot of places under the city, but it would also be easy to get lost.
Do we need a light? Can Rue see in the dark?
That's a good question.
And can Emily? I presume not.
Rue can not see in the dark.
Okay.
Egner, with an amount of confidence and with some level of awkwardness, as the tunnel is so small, he's like trying to squeeze past everyone and try and get to the front of the pack. And he's like, excuse me. Once he gets to the front, he says, "I got this. We're going to the docks." And it's going to be the blind leading the blind in this session. So the idea is that Egner is going to use his super senses, mostly of smell, but maybe a little bit of hearing, because he spent enough time in Twin Harbor to know very intimately that stench of the docks. The several crates of fish that pile up as the fisher people bring it in. That kind of stench of the the docks. You know what I mean. I'm kind of blanking
The
on
stench of the
whatever.
docks. We
The
got it.
stench of the docks. You know, it's really smelly, and
The
he's
dock
gonna
stench.
he's gonna use his super smell to kind of figure out at each fork, which is the right way to go, which one leads to the docks, which one smells the most like the thing. You know, that's his plan, and he'll make as many perception checks as he needs to in order to do that.
Give me one. See how well you do.
Let's see, dude. Oh, I rolled a 20 and a 5 because he gets advantage on the perception checks that
Nice.
rely on his smell. So it's gonna be 28.
So, Aigner very quickly picks up a few scents. One very clearly indicates a trail of leaking booze from a small keg leading to his left, leading northwards. And overpowering that is the ever so faint smell of fish from the docks. Fresh fish having been brought in early that morning. Aigner is easily able to lead everyone there.
Tempting as it is to go get a little bit of whiskey or whatever booze it is, tempting as it is, Agner has got a very professional mindset right now. He already did his drinking in the morning. Now it's the time to save Halifax. So, yeah, he follows the fish.
Following it along, you go through plenty of winding tunnels. The tunnels themselves follow some of the natural hillocks and dips that the city is built upon. It's just a minor rising and fall of the land, which just sort of further demonstrates that it is separate from the sewers, being a stable subterranean section, and more built to mirror the top section. Eventually getting to the hatch that would lead to the harbour. The hatch is immediately above as the corridor continues straight onwards. You can hear the lapping of water further down the corridor. And the corridor ends in some steps, as Aigner can sense, because you've got blind sight up to a certain range, haven't you?
Maybe. I don't know. It's like whatever I can pick up with hearing and smell and touch and taste. It's
Yeah. So you'll sense that
sight.
there are some steps further ahead that lead down into some water in this tunnel.
For sure.
But you could also just climb up a few of the metal rungs that have been set into the stonework here, up to a trapdoor. The trapdoor above is made of stone. It looks like it's part of the jetty of the dock. And you'll be able to get up to the docks. There's no telling, however, what is up there.
Yeah.
You don't know who is in the dock.
For sure. That's when Agner queries the group, and he says, "What do you think? Straight to the water, or up to the jetty?"
Maybe we should go see what the water is, if it might be an easier way to get out onto the water that involves less docks.
Very well.
If not, then we can do the invisibility early and then just go. But
I mean, if we wanted to scope it out, that's something I could do. Did it? Ugh. The pass out of trace. Is that our concentration or Icon's concentration?
My concentration.
Right. Okay.
And it lasts for an hour, so however long it took us to get through there is like, we got more time.
15 minutes tops.
Cool.
Okay. Are we? Are we wanting to like? Oh, she said blank character. Are we planning to scope it out, or? Because I mean, I have a spell for that. Unless you want to. Couple of people go and like stealth it up there.
I mean, scope out the area around us immediately, or scope out what we're up against as we go forward.
I mean, I think it lasts like an hour. No, it's probably not an hour, is it? No, it is an hour. It lasts basically. I can summon an invisible magical eye.
Arcane
that-
Eye.
Yeah.
Very good.
Ellie and I can spell.
Mhm.
That I can move like 30 feet a turn as an action. And there's like no limit from how far out it can go.
Cool. Yeah, either that or using clairvoyance from the scroll. Either one of those. That's what Egner was referring to when he was saying we need to do reconnaissance.
So should we try the scroll anyway, because it's not.
Yeah, because that's
so-
free and
so-
you don't have to use it this long.
Who can use it as a ritual?
Oh,
I can do rituals. I don't know if it means I can use the scroll though.
Oh,
either one.
Yeah, scrolls don't normally come with like a ritual component in standard 5e D&D. This will be a ritual with instructions for anyone to be able to perform. So anyone with any magical inclination can just do this ritual.
Go on. Leah, you want to do it? Or
What? You want me to do the thing?
do you want to do it? You do if you want to do it.
I don't need
I-
to be the person to do it. I just think let's go ahead and do it.
I am capable of observing your scrolls.
What kind of an ability does one have to have in order to do well at this venture?
I can see magic with my eyeballs. It is something that was built into me.
So we're having a proper look at this scroll thing.
Yeah. Sure.
Okay. So it lets you know that there are two parts to this spell that are to be cast separately. There is clairvoyance and clairaudience. So you can see things or hear things. To see things, you would need a somewhat expensive-seeming viewing device, like an orb or a pool. And to hear things, you would need some kind of horn or listening device.
Oh.
Heyo! It's making sense now.
Did we bring those with us? Did we just happen to bring those with us?
We'll have them.
I assume Ellie kept them with her, like
Oh, yeah.
We've got
the cool little trinkets. But yeah, just give me an Arcana ability check, and you'll be able to cast the spell.
Okay, so someone who has a good Arcana ability check should definitely be the one to cast the spell.
What's yours, Leah?
Oh, I only have +1.
Oh,
I
okay.
want to rue it.
Mm.
Do it.
What's ruse?
It's probably not as high as yours. It's a 4.
Mine
But
is-
it would
yeah,
be
mine's
so
a
fun.
10.
I think
4,
Ellie should do
10.
Why, Rue?
I'm going to assist.
Yeah.
You get advantage.
I can be teaching Rue at the same time. Like,
there we go.
Yeah.
training him. Am I doing it with advantage?
Well, I'm assisting you. Although, if it's
I know.
Rue, I'm probably not assisting you
Yeah.
and you roll with disadvantage. What does this
No.
squiggly right here mean? I'm pretty
Aw.
sure that is a stain from Alan's food.
That would be another crit. Somehow.
Nice.
Yeah.
Doing really well. So, where are you wanting this sensor to be? Because it can be anywhere in a location familiar to you. You've been around Twin Harbor, so you could put it anywhere. Then just see the other side of the trapdoor, like look at the dock.
Yeah? Is that what we're trying to do with it?
Yeah. But, well, how big of a radius?
Basically, so long as you're familiar with it. So you could have the sensor quite high up and view, like, you know, a few blocks. Of course, you'd see in less detail. That's the
Well, what are we doing this for? We're just trying to see what the situation is from the trapdoor up to the boat, right? Where he is.
Yeah, and then maybe from there we can do another one to try and get a more focused view of the boat itself if we can figure out which one it is.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. We'll put it wherever shows us situation between the trapdoor and getting to the boat.
Cool. So yeah, a magical sensor appears in the air invisibly, looking from the north southwards towards the opening of the harbour towards the ocean. You can see your side of the river, the other side of the river, and you can see quite clearly that there are two boats docked on the other side where Halifax said that he would be. There are no guards on that dock, but there are sailors on top of one of the boats, moving crates around, looking a little hurried, like they're in a bit of a panic to get out of there. The dock that you guys are under, that currently does have some guards on it. You see that there are 5 fully armored and plated dwarves, each carrying long halberd spears, and there are 2 warforged. They are, however, looking the other way. They are looking up towards the stonework ramp leading up towards the main street level.
There are 2 boats.
Yeah, there are 2 boats. There are some small rowboats as well in a stack on your side.
Could we tell which one is the right boat? Is it Tobias? No, Tobias is actually.
Oh, Tobias might be able to recognize which one
What
is
does the
which.
boat look like?
He might be able to. I mean, something is telling me that it would be the one that's looking like it's about to leave, you know? Because it's probably getting closer to that mid-morning time. Perhaps Agrian's plan is to take this boat, get out, and go somewhere and go do something fucked up, you know? But that's the thing that we need to do is that, I mean, you could use clairvoyance to like just pop the sensor into the boat, like just pop it into the hold, and try and
Drew
do that.
said I need to know the location. I don't know the boat.
I mean, it just needs to be. It needs to be either in a location familiar to you, or in an obvious location that is unfamiliar to you.
Oh, okay.
So, through the sensor, you can see the boat. That boat is going to have rooms inside. It's going to have, a below decks section. So you can, now that you've seen the boat, move the sensor to inside the boat.
Okay, so then I can just move the sensor, or do I have to cast it again?
Yeah, you just need to move the sensor.
Okay, I do that.
Yeah, let's do that.
Also, as an action, you can switch between seeing and hearing. So you can have
Okay.
the horn and have the glass eye, and you can
Oh, cool.
switch. So it's one or the other, but you can switch just as an action.
It's a great spell.
Which boat are you wanting to look inside first?
The
The busy
one that, yeah, the one that looks like it's gonna leave soon.
Moving into the bowels of that ship, you see that there are 2 halflings, both of them messing about with a small ball of yarn that they're tossing from one side to the other, while a group of humans are moving crates into position, giving them scowls. These 2 halflings are just wasting time. You don't see Adrian, you don't see Halifax.
Let's go to the other one.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like a passenger ship more than. Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll put it in the other one then.
Shifting to the other one, you do see Agrian pacing back and forth.
Okay.
Halifax tied to the wall. He is next to a few small crates, one of which has been broken open. There's all sorts of straw strewn about, and in amongst the straw, there are several small glowing green beads that have a copper wire wrapped around them. After a few seconds of pacing, Adrian then stops, stands up straight, and sort of looks in the general direction of the scrying orb.
Can I switch to sound?
Or no?
You
Or
hear that the boat is rocking side to side. You're hearing the usual creaking of the ship, and Halifax singing a jaunty little tune, which has obviously been annoying Adrian this whole time. And then you hear him say, "Shh," and then you hear footsteps moving closer.
What?
Then-
I'm gonna get rid of the sensor. I'm gonna move it to like.
X-nay. X-nay on the aerovoyance clay.
Yeah, I drop it. And then say, should be like, yeah, no, it's the non-busy one, like pointedly opposite to what I just said.
Fair.
Like, you're wrong, Agner, it's the other one.
still a little bit petty. I see.
Always.
Egnar brushes it off and says, "This is the value of reconnaissance."
Yeah.
He might have noticed that someone was watching him, though. I don't know.
Well, we better get moving then, before he turns that suspicion into anything else.
As Rue, was I able to, with my assist, see any of this stuff?
Whichever device Ellie wasn't using at the time to scry with, Rue could have been using the other one.
Okay, cool.
So while Ellie was looking in the ship with Adrian and Halifax, Halifax was still singing, and Adrian was muttering about it almost being time. He needs to wait for those damn tower chimes.
Okay. And what song? I guess it doesn't matter what song he was singing.
It was What You Do with a Drunken Sailor.
There will be a song, or the semblance of like a humming version of a song coming out of Rue, as it's observing Halifax. If you had lips, you'd whistle, but. And just to show off, this is him smiling.
Aww. Aww.
It looks quite terrifying,
It
like
does.
something out of Five Nights at Freddy's. It's great.
Yeah.
It-
That's terrifying.
Directly above, 5 dwarves, 2 warforged. There is a small set of stone steps leading to the water, so presumably opening out into the bay, allowing you to take a water path.
Mm-hmm.
What do?
Ellie, do you care to use that spell now?
Which one?
The invisibility one? The walking. Both.
You
Yeah,
told,
all, like, which
All
one
of
do you
them.
want?
you
all
told
of
us
them.
you told us we could walk. While we still have the blessing of Urana, I would like us to walk or run as quickly as we can toward
Okay,
that boat.
I will cast water walk, whatever it is. What was it? That's right. Not reloaded. I cast water walk.
All right. Egnar will cautiously head down the steps, careful not to slip and fall on the slippery parts that have gotten washed up with water. And yeah, he will, for some reason, lead the way, but he will know that someone eventually will come along and kind of correct his direction and say, Egner, the boat's over there.
Yeah, there was nothing impeding the casting of the spells. You're able to descend into the water. How is everyone for waterproofing?
Uh,
Rue's gonna rust. First
Rue-
of all.
Rue is like, once water walking is cast and he sees everybody else kind of walking on the water, he's gonna be still standing at the edge of the dock, just looking.
Oh, we're
Well,
not on the dock, dude. We're
No, like surely I cast
we're
it
in the tunnel.
under the
On the
trapdoor,
tunnel.
and then we're gonna get out and we'll just walk on the water. We're not gonna be
Yeah,
in
just-
the water.
I'm like, it's just that whole
Okay, so
stepping.
Wasn't Rue on the bottom and then walk?
Yeah, we're going down the
Obviously invisible
steps.
thing.
We're not
Well,
going
we're-
up to the trap door.
so if
But
you
am
go down
I-
the steps, you will be descending into water
Yeah,
and then through a small doorway, and then be able to go up to the surface.
that's the major part right
That's what we
there.
have
Is like going into water. Going into water and being made of metal.
So you're not going to rust immediately.
I was just
by
joking
going
about
into
that,
water.
guys.
No, here's the thing. Rue is breaking down. He doesn't understand this, but he knows that he doesn't want to go in water because it sounds like it's a bad idea.
Well, would mending work on Rue? Surely the spell mending. If you
I'd say
So-
that many would work on rust. But, I mean, one, that doesn't take care of his fear. And second, you have lots of paper on you, including scrolls.
Is the bag of holding waterproof? It must be.
I would,
I'd say
like a-
bag of holding's waterproof.
I
yeah.
would
So
hope
let's
so.
put the scrolls in the bag of holding.
as
I would
mean,
like to
maybe
point
we
out
should
that
just-
Rue is loudly in this moment, like now understanding the plan, being afraid.
as
And it,
as Ellie comes over to put the very delicate scrolls and everything into Egner's bag of holding, he will growl in Ellie's direction and say, "Can you get that under control?" Like referring to Rue.
I'm just gonna whisper back. Maybe you should get your temper under control, Igna. He's just scared.
There's no time to be
While
scared.
they're doing that, Leah will go over and put her hand on Rue's arm and say, "It's all right, Rue. I don't think this is going to hurt you. We have time to take care of whatever might come up from this afterwards."
are you casting calm emotions?
I mean,
You're gonna make her use one of her spell slots.
yeah, I only got 3, dude.
I mean, I didn't know if you were gonna take that step. I just was really excited for what it meant for Leah as a character developing. That's all.
She's not going to think of it. If he continues to stay agitated, she might. I don't know.
He's gonna kind of look at her and say, I don't understand what I'm feeling, but every part of me says that this will hurt me, that I could die, and I don't know what that means, but I don't want to go back to blackness. That's all I know that it is, and it I think this is what you might call fear. I think that I am scared. Don't make me do something that hurts. Please. Just you go, and I'll stay right here, and it'll be safe here.
Rue, all of us do things that we're scared of all the time. Sometimes we just have to do them. I know that Ellie will be able to take care of you.
But why do things when you're scared, when you could just not, and the scary things don't happen, and then everything is safe and not scary? Why do things that are scary?
Rue.
Hi.
Oh, sorry. You go.
I thought you were about to shout it.
Well, probably. So that's why you should go instead of me.
I'm gonna go over to Rue now and just take hold of its hands in a very calm and soothing voice. What you're feeling is fear. We all feel that at times too, but this is something that we have to do. I can fix anything that happens to you. I won't let anything happen to you. Do you trust me?
Rue's nodding and says, and and you can make pain go away.
I can fix things. It might hurt for a little bit, but then I can fix it. But hopefully the water shouldn't hurt you.
He's gonna look at Leah and then look at Ellie and then lean in closer and say, "But what about the green glow?"
That we saw. That we saw through the eye.
No.
I think that
Oh.
What about the green glow in the water?
I look in the water. There's green glow in the water.
There isn't a green glow in the water.
Hmm.
he's somehow remembering the thing with Eridu vanishing and
He
the
wasn't
cloak
there.
being behind, but he has the
Apparently it
cloak.
wasn't.
I'm gonna. What, Rue? What do you mean?
Yeah.
Are you detecting magic or?
I don't know. And then I'll look at the water and I'll like my it's hard to convey confusion on a robot face, but then I'll look back and say there is nothing there. I don't know what I mean. Sometimes I think this world is a very confusing place, and I haven't been in it long enough, but I do trust you, and I think that you can fix anything. And if I get hurt, will you fix me?
Always.
Then I will do the thing that I am scared to do because I trust you.
It's like throwing a baby in the water.
And here you go.
Well, I'm gonna hold his hand as we go in.
All right, so you two are the first ones in.
Sure.
Uh-huh.
That's good.
Okay.
Egner will
So-
follow right behind.
So, were you casting water walk on Rue, or is he going to the bottom to walk?
I've cast it on Rue.
Okay.
I'd rather him not be under the water if possible.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's funny how we called that, like, oh, that's a great idea, like, not thinking that Rue would actually have a problem with that. Like, okay, Rue,
Mhm.
down to the bottom of the ocean floor with you, by the way.
You don't need to breathe, so you can just go to the bottom. It's fine.
It's not gonna be terrifying or dark or awful.
Yeah. Yeah. All right.
Ugh.
So I guess we're on our way, dude. And if we need to make stealth checks, we still got that bonus. Is true?
And
Yep.
we're passing without a trace, which means we leave no footsteps in the water we step on.
Exactly.
How cool is that?
Great. I mean, that's always my concern whenever I walk on water is leaving tracks.
Well, so if you think about it, we should, in theory, every time we touch the water, make a ripple.
Oh yeah.
Definitely.
But with pass without a trace, we don't do that.
Yeah.
Hey.
So, hand waving a couple of things with water walk, because just yeah, you slip under out to the surface of the water and start crossing the bay, trying to do so stealthily. So, I mean, the guards are watching the other way. You guys are going to have advantage on another stealth check. You've got pass without trace, so an extra +10. This will take you 5 minutes to cross the bay, and so just one stealth check. This is likely going to go off without a hitch.
Don't say that, Drew, because now it's not. Don't. You said it. Don't say it. Okay. I'm doing this in my dice arena. Thanks again, Josh from Nerdwood Designs, for the very lovely gift of a dice arena. I love it. Boom. Okay, this is decent. I have a 19.
I did not
I-
roll so well.
Oh.
I can't see your results, Leah. I'm sorry.
Oh, I rolled a 2 and an 8, so like my total's an 18, which at least that helps a little. But
Um, I could flash of genius it for one thing.
oh, I guess it's
I don't
19
think
also
it's
for
high
me.
enough.
That's a great idea.
So you'd be on 24 if we do that.
Well,
Um,
we also had a 19, right? So we both had 19s.
I have a 19. Yeah.
Flash of genius, Leah.
All right.
I got
I
a
didn't ignore that, I guess.
29.
So 29, 24, 19. What was Ruse?
Oh, I'm sorry, I wasn't paying attention. What am I rolling?
Stealth.
Oh, okay.
Silly
This
robot.
time, water.
25.
25.
Yep.
That's including the plus 10 you're getting from Pass Without a Trace, yeah?
Right.
Okay, and Emily gets a 27. She is also there. You guys cross the bay to the other harbour. You get there as a few more boxes are being loaded onto this other ship, and a couple of the people start to notice that there's an odd thing happening back across the bay, and also the water is starting to behave a little weird, which is attracting their attention. Looking down beneath your feet, you see that deep under the water, there look like there are small whirlpools that are not affecting the surface, just whorls of water spinning underneath the surface, maybe about 20 feet deep. And this has started worrying the crew that are packing the boat up. We're going to stop for our break there,
Okay.
and we'll find out what that's about and try and rescue Halifax when we get back.
There's no way that these whirlpools could mess with our plan, right?
Absolutely no way.
There's absolutely no way. Hey, everything's gonna be fine.
And we have cute pictures of Rue doing normal people stuff as a robot.
Exactly. Hey, thank you so much for joining us. We'll be back, don't worry. Give us about 15 minutes to take a little break, and we'll continue this crazy old story we got going on. And yeah, really nice to see some familiar names in the chat. I love our Twitch group that we're building. We're building a crew, guys. Building a crew.
Yeah.
All right, so yeah. Where's the button I need to do? All right, that's the button. Thank you. We'll see you soon.